Alright guys, welcome to Flav Oriana's MMA show. I'm your host, Flav Oriana, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. Alright, so this past Saturday we just concluded UFC Vegas 21, Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad, alright? Excuse me, the original fight was supposed to be Leon Edwards versus Hamza Chimaev, but if you guys not knowing, Hamza ended up retiring. He ended up saying that it was because of COVID-19, where he couldn't get his lungs back in order. He was feeling weak. He wasn't getting the proper medical attention when he was in Switzerland. Dana White was like, screw that. We're bringing you to Vegas. We're going to get you the proper medical attention. We're going to bring you to the PI. We're going to make sure that you're 100% healthy because your health matters, all right? And it was really just because Dana White did not want to lose on such a great prospect in Hamza Chimaev. The way that he had dominated in his first 3 fights in the UFC is something that Dana White felt like he hit lightning in a bottle, and we all felt that too, all right? So it brings us to them, scrambling around what welterweight we need to find. We need to find a welterweight who's going to fight Vicente Luque's book against Tyron Woodley. They're not going to scratch that card. Leon's like, I want to fight on this card on March 13th, and he was not budging whatsoever, so they ended up having him fight Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad last time fought in UFC 258 against that was on the card of Gilbert Burns versus Kamaru Usman. This guy has about a 3-week notice. Enough time really to cut down the weight. To get himself into decent shape. It's not the full 8-week camp that you would normally need. But, in this type of times, in this pandemic times, 3 weeks is actually a long time when you consider it in the pandemic era. But, Leon Edwards was really to risk it all against the number 13 fighter in the welterweight division, Belal Muhammad, right? But yeah, Belal Muhammad, I feel so bad for him. First round, Leon Edwards was dominating the fight. He looked so crisp. Looked like he had no ring rust whatsoever. Was establishing the jab. Was showing that he was the more powerful fighter than Belal Muhammad. Clearly, height was a big difference. He had more reach, more height. Was able to generate more power. And Belal was having a hard time, closing in on range. All right, but the problem is, like what we had in the previous, card is, eye pokes, and I know there was a couple of low blows on the card, but yeah, Leon had poked Belal in the eye in the first round, was trying to establish range. All right, I know a lot of people were like complaining a lot due to the fact that the UFC should try to change the gloves. Bellator, I believe they have the gloves where they're a little bit curved in, so there's no way that you can extend them out. And for anybody that doesn't know, reason why they, a lot of these UFC fighters, try to, shoot in, with the hands like this is just to get a better feeling of range on how close you need to get in to hit, to landing the right perfect punch for your opponent, right? So he was dominating the first round. Clearly won that round. Going into round 2, 18 seconds into the fight, right? Pokes the eye in Belal Muhammad and gouges it. Oh, man. I felt so bad for Belal. Belal was on the floor, crying, screaming. Couldn't see at all. You had a feel for the man. The guy was clearly not faking whatsoever. If you did not see the fight, all right, go look on Dana White's Twitter. You're going to see the fingers of Leon Edwards going into the eye of Belal Muhammad, scratching right here on the eyelid. It was really bad. I felt so bad. Belal made a statement afterwards that no permanent damage whatsoever. He's able to recover fine. Felt really terrible. It was a really big moment for Belal because it was his first main event, and he wanted to showcase, for everybody out there to see what he's made of. So now it brings us to the question: what's next for Belal Muhammad? What's next for Leon Edwards? Well, clearly it shows that Leon Edwards does not want to fight Belal Muhammad because he felt like because he dominated the first round, he should get a title fight. Well, honestly, him poking out the eye of Belal Muhammad and then going into a no contest, right, a no decision, right, was like possibly like the second or third worst possibility for Leon Edwards. All right, the number one worst thing would have been if he lost, right? Whether it would have been knockout, submission, split decision, unanimous, you name it, it would have been bad. That would have been the worst possible scenario. But the fact that this was the scenario where it was an eye poke and the refs had to stop the fight in the second round, 18 seconds into the second round, was really, really bad. I don't think Leon Edwards gets a fight. I think what Leon Edwards needs to do is actually fight immediately with somebody else, a la WB, what's it called, Wonder Boy himself, all right, Stephen Wonder Boy Thompson. I want to see that fight, all right, because it just doesn't seem like he's going to get the fight against Jorge Masvidal. Masvidal is, at that discretion where he just wants to fight at main events. He feels like he's a prize fighter, all right. I kind of felt like his stock has dipped a little bit since he got dominated by Usman. Colby Covington, on the other hand, has no interest in fighting Leon Edwards, not because he feels like Leon is not a worthy opponent. Well, in Colby's eyes, yes, he probably feels like he's not a worthy opponent, but Leon is ranked number 3. Colby is ranked number 1. I think Gilbert Burns is still ranked number 2. So it's not that far of a drop off. I feel like Leon Edwards should fight, Wonder Boy Thompson. If not, Gilbert Burns. Those are the only 2 fights to make at this point. I don't see Leon Edwards dropping all the way back down on trying to fight Belal Muhammed to make a statement. I think we kind of saw where the direction was going. All right, even though Belal had said that he was just picking up the pace and stuff like that. I'm sorry, but the way that you got dominated in that first round, it just did not seem like you were going to get anywhere going, and you were having a hard time within range on trying to get a touch with Leon Edwards. So that's what ended up happening. But as for Belal Muhammad, I personally want to see him fight. If he wants to see, fight anybody, I think he might have to fight Sean Brady. I know that's a fight that you may not want to fight. I mean, Sean Brady looked pretty impressive against Jake Matthews, but Sean Brady's ranked number, I think, 15th, if not 14th. He's definitely wanting a good opponent out there. You guys were scheduled to fight each other last year. Did not happen. I see that happening. If not, maybe you guys fight, he fights a Neil Magny or the Leech. That's the only thing I could possibly see him fighting. The highest person he might be fighting is the Leech. I don't see the Leech fighting him, considering that he went to a no contest. If Belal would have won, he would have probably jumped inside the top 10, maybe like rank 6 or 7. But that's about that. I mean, feel for Belal. He's probably not going to be returning back until maybe July at the earliest. As for Leon Rocky Edwards, I think he should fight as soon as possible. I would say try to fight in April, try to fight in May. The sooner you fight, the better, so you could get on closer towards the title shot, because it just looks like Kamaru Usman's going to face Jorge Masvidal, because that's a big money fight right there. He sees it as an easy opportunity, which I think it is, just because of the fact that the way he dominated Jorge Masvidal. I think in a 5-round, with a full camp, 5 rounds, I think Jorge Masvidal still doesn't get anything done against Kamaru Usman. I think he's going to have to switch things up for him to possibly get the belt, taken away from Kamaru Usman. But moving on to the co-main event, we had Misha Cirkunov versus Ryan Superman Spann. Oh man, Ryan Spann. If this guy had any anger, he clearly showed it, because he dominated that round, that one and only round against Misha Cirkunov. Took out his aggression. Last time he was seen, lost to Johnny Walker, he had a TKO victory over Misha Cirkunov. Grounding and pounding. Congratulations to Mika Cirkunov. Wow. That was a crazy fight. What happens next? I think they should probably run it back. Johnny Walker versus Ryan Spann. I think that should be the fight to make. I think Ryan Spann could get the better hand of Mika Cirkunov if they run it back. As for Misha Cirkunov, I think he might need to recover a little bit, but maybe Jamal Hill, him and Jamal Hill would be, pretty fun to watch. I would kind of like to see Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill versus Misha Cirkunov. And then we also had Danny Ige versus Gavin Tucker. Wow. Gavin Tucker got knocked down. knocked out by Danny 50K Ige. He really lived up to the hype of his own nickname, 50K. Right down the button, right down the middle, hitting him right over here. For Gavin Tucker landed flat down in the back of his head, not knowing where he was at. 22 seconds. Honestly, I kind of agree with Michael Bisping and Daniel Cormier. The fight should start as soon as they make the first, what's it called, skin to skin contact, because they were just pacing around, and then after the first kick or whatever, the first exchange, 3 seconds in, bam, 5 seconds in, whatever, bam, right down the middle, and Dan Ige walks out with $50,000 added on, to his paycheck. Wow. We also had a fight with the Dragon, Jonathan Martinez versus Davey Grant. Oh, man, I had so high hopes of Jonathan Martinez. I think he was just having a hard time getting going. He was trying to do a little bit too many of the fakes and stuff like that. But Davey Grant clipped him good. And down goes Jonathan Martinez. I think Jonathan Martinez should probably go back to featherweight. I know this was a bantamweight fight. I was a little bit surprised to see him fight at bantamweight. As for Davey Grant, I mean, there's talks about, I saw some people saying Cheeto Vera. I think he's not there yet. I don't know who he should fight. I mean, bantamweight is just fully loaded. I mean, I would love to see him fight Sean O'Malley, but do I see that happening? No. I think Sean O'Malley wants a bigger name, in my opinion, after he gets, if he's able to get past through Thomas Almeida. We also had a fight with Charles Air Jourdain versus Marcelo Rojo. Wow, I think if anybody lost out, it was that fight right there. That should have been fight of the night. If not, it should have been the fight with Rafa Garcia. But yeah, Charles Air Jourdain was doing work against Marcelo Rojo. Marcelo Rojo making his UFC debut. Trains in Tijuana with Brandon Moreno, who's going to be scheduled to fight Davison Figueiredo. But wow. I gotta say, for like Marcelo Rojo, please move your head. He was getting hit a lot. Jourdain was just clipping him, throwing punch after punch, clean punch, hard punches, the significant strikes, and he was using his kicks too. I think Marcelo Rojo was maybe a little bit too excited, maybe possibly, making his UFC debut. But yeah, you definitely got to move the head. I mean, same thing with Rafa Garcia. Rafa Garcia had a great fight, but it was just one of those things where it's just like, you got to move the head. If you don't move the head, you're going to get clipped way too many times, and it's going to cause you to end up losing the fight. Rafa Garcia ended up fighting against Nasrat Hakparast, which that kid right there, 25 years old, he's gonna be something else. He's training with Kamaru Usman and Justin Gaethje and that whole nine. I mean, this guy has so much unlimited potential that he has yet to tap. Wow, 155 looks stacked, man. It looks stacked. Also had a fight with Angela Hill, beats up on Ashley Yoder, gets the victory, and I'm not surprised whatsoever. Now, I would like her to fight the winner of Mackenzie Dern versus Nina Ansaroff. That fight should be scheduled, I think, in April, if I'm not mistaken, or May. But yeah, Angela Hill looked fantastic. Her boxing's so crisp. I mean, she's got to be top 5 best strikers in that division with Rose and Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Weili Chang. She's got to be in the top 5. I mean, she has phenomenal boxing. But yeah, guys, I mean, such a good card. Not many big names, but, Oh, I also forgot. Eric Anders and the dentist Darren Stewart. Yes, the heavy jalapenos favorite, the dentist himself. How do you have back-to-back events where a grounded fighter gets hit with a knee against the skull? All right. And it happens to fighters that are winning the fight. I mean, how does this keep on happening? Peter Yan does this with Aljamain Sterling. Eric Anders is winning the fight. He is a couple seconds away from winning the fight, and he throws a knee on Darren Stewart while he is grounded. Oh, man. I feel so bad for Darren Stewart. Hopefully he's fine. As for Eric Anders, I mean, look, I get it. It was unintentional. You were getting into the moment. You saw a finish, within seconds of happening, but you throw that knee. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Eric Anders was just a few seconds away from possibly winning $50,000. But yeah, he cost himself, his win bonus and a potential $50,000. I mean, if anybody really lost, on Saturday, it probably would have been Eric Anders and Belal Muhammad and Leon Edwards. But yeah, I just felt so bad for Eric, for Belal Muhammad and Darren Stewart. Wow, terrible. But this week we're gonna end up having Derek Brunson versus Kevin Holland. These two have some beef with one another. I can't wait to see this. Kevin Holland was 5-0. Last time we saw Derek Brunson, he beat up on Edmund Shabazian. All right, he started that hype train. Will he stop the hype train from Kevin Holland? We will have to see. All right, on that card, we also have the return of Gregor Gillespie. This guy gets knocked out by Kevin Lee, gets sent to the moon with that head kick that he ended up getting put to sleep with. He is fighting Brad Verdell from All City Kickboxing. That's Israel Adesanya's camp. You also have Adrian Yanez versus Gustavo Lopez. Tai Tuivasa is also making his return. He is fighting Dontel Mays. You're also going to have husband and wife on the same card. Cheyenne Bai, she's end up fighting Montserrat Conejo from Mexico. And you also have JP Buys, from South Africa. That's the husband of Cheyenne Buys. He is going to end up fighting, Bruno Silva. So that should be an interesting fight at flyweight. We also have Trevin Giles versus Roman Dolazzi. So that's a good fight right there. And Marion Reneo versus Macy Chisan. I'm butchering the name. I'm so sorry. But yeah, good card. Can't wait to watch it. And then obviously the week after that, we're going to have part 2, Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic. And in the co-main event, Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega. So we got a couple good fights, good cards coming around the corner. But that's all. I'm Flavo Rihanna. Thank you for tuning in. And please hit that like and subscribe button. And I will see you guys next time. Peace, guys.